Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here this evening. My name is Natasha Ria El-Scari, and I am the founder of Black Space Black Art. So I have an exciting list of people joining us today, and I want to share this with you all now. Wow, look at that right there. All these beautiful faces. And I thought that we would take the opportunity today to talk a little bit about the Black Lives Matter murals in Kansas City. I want to just tell you all a little bit about what's been happening over the last, 48 hours. And that is that we were in USA Today. Today, did you all see that article?
No, I didn't.
Shout out to USA Today. And also KCUR, but it's just been a lot of really interesting articles, people taking pictures, tagging us, as an organization, but also as individual artists. And so, first off, I think that I would speak for everyone when I would want to say thank you, Kansas City, for all of the amazing support. It's just been phenomenal. And so I wanted us to have a conversation today. I'm just going to moderate a little bit and talk with the artists themselves. So one of the things is, if you all have ever been on the news or had any type of media, they'll interview you for a long time and then they'll pick 1.2 sentences that is really out of context of everything you said. You could say, I had eggs and turkey bacon, I had yogurt, I had orange juice, and I hate toast, so I didn't have that. And then when the news story comes out, it'll be Warren Harvey hates toast, right? So it ends up being that. And that can be really frustrating because you could have said a host of other things and then it was taken out of context. And so I just thought, let's hear directly from the artist. And so I want to, just introduce everyone. We've got Harold Smith. Harold, raise your hand when I call your name. Vivian Wilson Bluett. We have Adrianne Clayton, Warren Stylez Harvey, and our guest BSBA artist, Avrion Jackson. So that's kind of cool, Warren, that let's see. Everybody point to the person. So this is great. And so you are welcome to ask questions. You are welcome to make comments. And we would love to hear from you. We would love for you all to share as well. So first of all, I would like for you all, if you want to, in addition, introduce yourselves. You're welcome to do that and just hop on when you're ready. We'll try to maybe unmute and see what happens. And then I'll go into my questions. Not everybody at once.
Hey, I'm Vivian. My mural this past weekend was on 63rd and Brookside. That's all I got.
I'm Adrianne. My mural was on 18th and Vine.
My name is Warren, and my mural was on 63rd and Truce.
My name is Avrion, and mine was on 10th and Baltimore.
I'm Harold, and my mural was at Mulberry and Briarcliff.
Awesome. And then there was another mural by Michael Toombs, who is not a member of Black Space Black Art, but a very well-known, well-established artist in Kansas City. And his mural is on 31st and Troost. So if you haven't already, please make it your business to go by there, go by all of the different locations. They are definitely worth going to. So, so many people have asked a couple of questions, and I'm going to try to put them all together. But for each of you, what was the inspiration for your particular design?
Well, I'll speak. My inspiration for my design is just my particular journey in my art world, my art career, and my voice in that. I really wanted to be authentic and put that expression in that, because I feel like it expresses what I wanted the mural to represent and what I represent. So I just put my style in my mural.
So Warren, do you think that it's similar to kind of your paintings that people are familiar with that?
Yeah.
And a beautiful job you did, Warren. I was able
Thank
to
you.
walk and
Thank you.
see it and walk up and down the street.
I'm grateful.
For mine, I just tried to think about the area that I was in, the 18th and Vine area, and the
Adrianne, can you turn up your volume a little bit, please?
Okay.
Or get closer?
As soon as I can figure out where my volume is. Oh, there it is. Okay, is that better?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I tried to think about the area that I was in on 18th and Vine. I tried to think about the people that was going to be in that area, and I just wanted to represent that.
I think for my style, I tried to just think of what Black Lives Matter represented and how it affected me. And when I learned that it was gonna be by an elementary school, I tried to incorporate things that I thought would catch the eye of the children that would be at that school every day. But most importantly, it was to capture things that were about the movement.
When I did my mural, I thought about the fact that in Black you have the presence of all colors. I wanted a mural that reflected the diversity within the Black experience, the vibrancy, the energy, the creativity of Blackness. I wanted it to be an examination of Blackness, a deconstruction of Blackness, and a reminder that without Black lives, there would be no lives at all.
For my mural, I wanted to go with more of a boho Afrocentric vibe, as well as to have more of details that went with the culture. So you have your pick in there, you have a woman with the afro and a crown.
So have any of you all worked in such a large, first of all, most artists have not worked in such a large, but what is the largest thing that you've done to date? And let's kind of give people an idea about how long, I think combined, they said about 2,000 feet, which I think is close to, I don't know, I'm not going to do my conversions, but close to a mile-ish maybe, or near that. Anyway, I can't remember that, but an entire city block, right? Not, so someone was asking me from out of town, like the scale, and a couple of you all were people captured images of you kind of standing at the street with the mural behind you. And that was even something that you couldn't see. So if you're standing at the front of the mural, you actually cannot see to the end of the mural. You do have to actually walk in front of each of the letters, or at least stand in about 4 different places to kind of even take in all of it. So up until that point, what was the largest size that you all had worked in before the mural?
For me, the largest was a canvas of 36 by 48. So that's like 3 by 4 feet.
I would say for me, it would be, it was 14-foot ceilings inside of an office. That was horrible. That, yeah, a death sentence waiting to happen.
And my largest was about 60 by 96 inches.
Mine was probably just a regular size, 36 by 48 canvas type, or somewhere around there. Not any much, not too much larger than that.
Warren, you've done a 4 by 5.
Where?
Your mom's piece.
Yeah, you're right. That's a 36 by 48.
No, that's a 4 by 5. It's a 36 by 48?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What about the Divine?
No, the one that was bigger than that was the African woman. I don't remember the size of that we sold at the, you know what I mean, when we was doing the, yeah.
Yep, yeah.
Larger than that.
Okay.
I painted murals on walls, like in church, and I don't know what the size of that was, but if I were going to say canvas, it would be like 36 by 48.
Well, so this obviously was a huge difference. So leading up to the Saturday, what did you anticipate your experience would be like?
I thought about it over and over again. I didn't know what to expect. I could envision what to expect. I didn't know who was going to show up, what their artistic level was going to be. Um, we knew the supplies was going to be there, but it was really, I wasn't sure. I hoped for the best. I knew that everything was provided. I knew I had volunteers coming. I didn't know how many. And when I awoke and saw the rain, I really didn't know how many. So I don't know if in my mind I could not have fathomed what happened on that Saturday.
I agree, Adrienne. I feel the same way. Like before that day, I didn't know what to imagine. I didn't know what to expect at all. I had a list of my volunteers of who signed up to do what, and I also asked some of my art friends to show up and help out, but I could have never imagined exactly what unfolded that day. Because it was so brand new, I didn't really know, what to expect, and what happened, I would have never imagined that happening before that day.
I can agree with that as well. I didn't have a list. I didn't know anything. In my mind, I thought it would be more art students, just because of the meetings that we had, but it turned out to work out for the greater good. I had a lot of volunteers that ended up being painters for a living or artists for a living. So I was overjoyed and overwhelmed in a good way.
Yeah, I think it was really the same for me. I knew that this was a new experience, so I didn't know what to expect, but I knew I would be less creating and more just kind of directing people. And I knew that was new for me and kind of made me nervous because it was hard to predict that because that really happened in the moment. So I was just really trying to get prepared for anything and just be ready just to move wherever I needed to move. But it was completely new. But it was a great experience, though.
Yeah, I thought it would be a exciting experience and be fun. And beyond that, didn't know too much what to expect, but I felt it would turn out really good.
So for people who weren't there, didn't get a chance to go by when you all were creating, at any given time, so first of all, let's talk about the day. How many hours were you there? How long did it take each of you? And include if it rolled over into a next day too.
Shoot. It took me all the way to I think we worked all the way to 4 o'clock on Saturday, and on Sunday it took us maybe 5 or to 6 o'clock. And so we were working for a while. I think
What time did you get there Saturday and Sunday?
8, but we were waiting on paint a lot too. So, but it was like around 8. We was there for a while. And Saturday we got there around 6:30, 7. So it was some time.
I got there at 6:30. And 18th and Vine was covered in trash and food. So we had to do a good cleanup, and everybody pitched in for that. So that was really good. And then I'd say we were probably finished painting it by 2 o'clock. But then the second shift of volunteers came in and they kind of put final touches on it. So I would say we sealed it about 6:30. We were finished and cleaned up.
I will say, because I had a chance to go to all of the sites, it was really amazing how clean everything was. Like, people were on it as far as kind of cleaning as they go, not wasting supplies, keeping stuff together. And I want to put this comment up from Justice. Justice was the project manager for Vivian's site, right? And he says, Chrissy, Damien, Marissa, and myself are having a debrief meeting and watching you all. We love you all. So shout out to the project managers as well, right? Because you all were the artist lead, but then you also were paired with project managers. Most of them are people you didn't know before this event. And so they came from all different areas and organizations. And I don't want to leave any of the organizations out, but you had y'all help me out. the Urban League.
Urban League. Mm-hmm.
You had NAACP. You had, of course, us, Black Space, Black Art. You had the city of Kansas City. I feel like there's always another one that I'm missing.
Truth.
Oh, yes, the Truth Collective. Called the Truth Market Collective or Truth Collective Marketplace. I apologize if I'm mixing those up. And that is on 31st and Truth. That is a part of the organization that Chrissy and Michael are a part of, which really is the birthplace for the murals as well, as far as the organization and idea behind it. So I want to definitely shout them out as well. So how many people at each place? And what was give us an idea of the demographic.
On my side, it was everybody.
Everybody,
you know. And that's what it needed to be, because it needed to be a representation of the community, you know, and what happens when the community come together, when a group of people come together, what can be done. And a lot of times the thing that can be done is the thing that once looked overwhelming, seemed overwhelming. But when a group of people come together and communicate, agree upon something, the impossible can be done. You know, mountains can be moved. And that's what it was a demonstration of.
That's very beautiful, Warren.
6 murals in one day.
Yeah.
Crazy.
6 murals in one day. They said that they think it was over 1,000 volunteers total. So
they showed up.
Yeah, people were like, hit me up like, hey, I didn't sign up. Can I go? And I'm like, yeah. Because I had the great opportunity to thank you, Katie. Yes, Katie was a project lead from the Truth Market Collective. Yes. So thank you, Katie, as well. I didn't get a chance to spend much time there, but I was really honored to pop around, and it took me a couple of hours. And y'all know I don't do all that extra heat. It was hot.
It was hot.
Like today, where it's like 52 degrees outside. Don't worry, it's gonna be 90 next week. Like, I don't need. People are all like, "Oh, I'm so sad." I'm like, "Don't be." It doesn't get even slightly more cold here until October. So don't put up your Birkenstocks yet, everybody. But definitely, it was super hot.
It was.
Avrion won for shade because she was downtown. Yeah. I think Harold lost because it was all baby trees out there. It was like 2 trees with shade. Oh, Lauren, you lost 2. You may have had more trees than Harold. Like, and 18th and Vine was kind of a mix. And then the same Vivian had some mature trees around where she was, but she had that asphalt coming from the tennis courts. So all of it, and yeah, you could definitely feel all the differences in that. Yeah. And it did make a huge difference. And the vibe was different at each one, right? I was really shocked to see how many young people, like little people, were out there helping and thinking about the hundreds of little people who weren't necessarily painting, but they were getting water, they were jumping and twirling around, and not really, when I was there, being in the way, but feeling the energy of that coming together. Like, and that's what it's about, in the sense of people are going to remember that. They're going to remember, no, Black Lives Matter meant we all came together to honor that Black Lives Matter. We came together to acknowledge. I was definitely shocked with the amount of white people that were present. And I do think that the amount that were present was important to show allyship, right? And to show, and I think that helped safety-wise, honestly. I wondered how different it would have been if it was like 1 or 2 white people and all Black people, what that energy would have been different, right? So, and even just at that time, the presence of the cops, are very different when they see what they presume to be upper or middle class white people. The vibe is completely different. 18th and Vine was completely. It was kind of self. It's its own thing. It's its own planet anyway. But yeah, we definitely had concerns coming from a couple of different areas. And how was that for you all? How did that feel? Because we had concerns, y'all. I'm trying to be PC, but I won't be. People were threatening to ruin, death threats, beat up threats. All of that was coming in, and you all still had to make decisions. How did you come to that?
I did have I wasn't there when it happened, but I happened to leave, and I ended up coming back just to make sure everything was okay, because we got those type of threats. And one of the volunteers, he happened to stay, and he was saying that he was just enjoying the view, and he happened to see a tinted truck with a Confederate flag come by, and he was at the top of the hill and they were at the bottom, and they walked up to the mural and they spat on it, and he said, "Why don't you spit on me?" And they ended up getting in their car and running away, but they never came back. But that was the only thing that I actually heard of. But I feel like it brought awareness to the area, because a lot of people were watching up above in their apartments, because I was on downtown. So everybody was watching all night. And I feel like it brought more of a community effort and awareness that this is something that happens every day.
For sure. And what does it feel like to be put in the harm's way, like when you're standing with someone, which is what we're seeing at these marches. So yeah, go ahead, Vivian.
I was gonna say first, I arrived the first day on my site. I arrived at a little after 6:30. I arrived, and my technical team was already there. They were already in the street. They were starting. They were on it. So we really got to start fairly quickly, but I didn't leave that first day until almost like 7 o'clock. So it was at least 12 hours that I was out there the first day. And the second day, I got there probably around 8, if not just a little bit after 8 o'clock. And just because of some technical things, I don't think I left there. We were probably done at about maybe 2, and that might be pushing it, but I still stayed and had to do some last minute stuff. So I don't think that I left and got home until about 6 or so. But I mean, both days were long, but Saturday was just really, really hard. The safety of it all and the security concerns were very, very, very real for me. They were very real for my site being at 63rd and Brookside. And it almost made the difference in me going. I really had to, the day before, just toggle with, am I going to do this? Am I going to go? Am I going to get out here? The threats were real. The threats were coming. And I talked with my project manager, and I called Natasha, because I was really on that. Initially, I was like, I'm cool. I don't care. Y'all ain't gonna scare me. I'm going. But then the day before, one friend of mine called me and said that they knew someone who worked for the Grandview School District that called her that said, look, we were made aware of threats for the Brookside site. You guys need to be careful. I don't know if you should go. So she's like expressing that to me and almost putting that energy onto me of, oh my God, I don't want you to go. It's going to be dangerous. You need to be careful. So I'm like, Natasha, this is what I'm facing. And she was like, okay, sis, well, what does your gut say? What is your first reaction? And I'm like, my first reaction is curse word, F word, F word them. But I have a family that I have to consider. I'm a mom. So now I'm like, ugh. But I talked with my husband. I talked to my son. My son is 15, and my son is so bored with my art stuff. He's 15. He's so bored with it. But I told him, you're going. This is what's happening. I'm giving you the choice only because this is what I know. This is what's happening. There have been threats. If you say that you don't want to go, I will understand, and I won't force you to go this time. So what do you want to do? I'm going. No matter what, win, lose, or draw, I just say my prayers and I'm out there. What do you want to do? And he's like, nope, I'm going. I'm going. So when my son said, I'm going, with the confidence that he said, I'm going, even though I was like, I'm going, like to hear him have that type of confidence in I'm going was like, all right, well, we going. Right. And the next morning when I woke up, I heard the thunder. I saw the lightning. I was awake at 4:00 in the morning. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this really gonna rain? Is it gonna rain? Is it gonna rain? But as I got the text that said, we're going out there anyway. And I'm telling you, just even getting dressed that morning, I had zero fear. I had zero apprehension. I was not concerned at the least at all. It was crazy how I was just that confident going out there with just a little bit of sleep, I don't know what happened. I'm not sure, I just went into let's get it done, thinking about people's threats was just not at the forefront of my mind at that point. There's a more important message happening, and I have to make sure that it happens.
When I found out, the opportunity was available, that was my number one thing. I'm like, let's talk security, because that was so important to me. And I honestly think that you all were incredibly brave. Whether you thought about it, whether you were concerned about it or not, we understand in this country there is a serious arms issue. There's a serious lack of protection of Black bodies, even from those that are supposed to protect Black bodies. And I was concerned. So when Vivian and I had a lengthy conversation about it, that was what I had to, I'm like, you'll know, right? And everyone had permission to, gotta go. If they didn't feel safe to walk up off there, like that didn't mean anything about you as an artist or a person or even a potential activist in that moment. And I think that for me, what it really also showed is the type of person that can march on front lines. And like Warren so eloquently said, the idea of when everyone puts collective thought together, how it can change things. And, the thing about art that is so powerful is that art forces you to have to look at things that even policy doesn't force you to have to look at, right? Policy, you get to ignore. Oh, that doesn't make any economic sense. That's ridiculous. But art always causes a pause. That is why arts are such an important part of the culture, right? Is that it forces us to have the conversations that make us uncomfortable, that make us think about that. And one of the things that's very clear, especially in the way that all of you described it, and even the way that the murals look, I literally, and I'm going to quote this quote, somebody put, I ain't really fucking with this Black Lives Matter, but y'all, these murals are amazing, end quote. So even people, which I don't understand why anybody would be conflicted with Black Lives Matter. I mean, because if you're not conflicted, you're saying, no, it's absolutely okay to kill unarmed Black people. It's absolutely okay to have open season on Black people. That's what, when you say you're against Black Lives Matter, that's ultimately what you're saying. I am in agreement that people can just kill Black people when they're comfortable, especially police officers. And so it's just been really interesting to watch the comments and watch the threads, and also watch the amazing support from other Kansas City artists that came out to support. So I know, Adrianne, you had students, Harold had former students, all of you had artist friends that joined in. Do you all want to shout out any of those people at this time?
Well, I shout out Linnell Diggs. That's my artist friend that came through and helped me out. Shout out to him.
And Linnell's a founding member of Black Space, Black Art as well. So it was good to see him.
Word up.
It was. I had
You froze, Adrian.
and I had
Okay, you're back.
Ashley,
Go back. You
Eliana
froze.
and Dominic. And then I had Ashley and Ivana. So shout out to them. We also had the Brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. They were the bomb all day.
I want to give a shout out to Taylor, Day, Nikita, Anita, my cousin Greer, Flo, Anna. Love y'all. Black Girls of Paint. Y'all rock. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for showing up. Oh, and my tech team, y'all. I ain't gonna forget about my tech team. That technical team, y'all did y'all thing. Y'all made them letters straight. Y'all was, thank you, tech team.
AIA.
I want to thank all the people that came out, the tech team likewise. Former student of mine, not an art student, a computer student though, Isaac Tapia. He came out. There's another student, former student of mine. He didn't come to my site. He was, I believe, at Warren's. Anthony Trey Loomis. He's the most courageous artist I know. If you know him, you'll know why I say that. So I believe he was at I think he was at Warren's site, but he came out. So I want to shout him out. And thanks to all the people that helped. And yeah, we got cussed out a few times early in the day. And then some guy stood there and preached at us for about a half hour till his throat was so sore he could go on. But
did anybody respond to him, Harold?
Yeah. Not really. The police asked him to go. Well, he was yelling so loud. The police asked him to go across to the other side of the street so he could still do it, but at least he ain't drowning us out while we're trying to work. And then I know somebody did a Facebook Live. They sat there and videotaped him and stuff. And you know, it was an African American guy actually, and a former Afghanistan vet. And you know, he had his own views. You know, he wouldn't vandalize or nothing. He was just out there preaching in the heat. But there's a couple people that, you know, cursed us out. But yeah, the interesting thing is they did it as they drove by.
I think it was probably the same person wasting their gas that did the same thing to our site, that drove past and screamed out the window as they were driving past, and then they drove back the other way screaming as they were driving past. But someone actually drove their truck through my site. I mean, it was a black pickup truck. I was there making corrections, and I was getting hot. You know how sometimes you're kneeling down, and when you stand up too fast and you get a little lightheaded? Well, that happened. And I was in the shade, just sitting in the shade, trying to cool off. Everybody had left when I noticed that my peace sign was upside down. So I had to find some paint to repaint my peace sign. So that's why I was there by myself. So I was cooling off, sitting on the curb. And of course, there were people there looking, walking up and down. You know, there were kids. And the wind was blowing. So the wind had blown the barricades like everywhere. And here comes this truck. Here comes this black pickup truck, just as bold as day, driving straight through. I was like, oh my gosh, really? Really? It pissed me off so bad, y'all have no idea. Yeah. I was furious because I walked over to get the paint supplies at that point, and as I looked up, I saw the tail lights of the truck, and it was like a kid, like right there, like God, that kid could have just been in the way and it would have been all over. Like, wow. It was crazy.
And thank goodness nothing happened. I have just two more questions to ask you all. One is there a special story or a moment that you'd like to share about your experience that you would want people to know about?
I do. It was the second day after we finished the sealant, and it was a little white boy and his mom and his dad, and they were walking, and you could just see the awe about the whole atmosphere in the area, and it was quiet. It was just like one of those movie moments. Like we were just all focused in on that family, and he walked past and he's like, "This is awesome," and it's like. I felt like at that moment he was registering everything, and then you know how kids have that light bulb moment. It was like, because he was quiet coming down the whole time, and then once he got right at the very end, he was like, "This is awesome," and then I started crying. I was like, "Oh my God, this is what it's about," and I had to pull it together, but that's what made me feel like it was worth it. Art takes courage, and it was definitely worth it.
I went back on Sunday. Actually, I saw everybody Sunday. And everybody did a great job, really. There was a young lady, a beautiful young lady, and she had a head wrap and this beautiful African print skirt. And she came with a photographer, and she was standing like in the middle of the street with the words behind her. And she looked proud and she looked strong, as people were walking up and down the sidewalk. And everybody just looked so proud, proud to be Black, even in spite of what the actual mural and the statement was saying, that we matter, that our husbands matter, our brothers matter. Everybody had a sense of pride, and it was so peaceful on that particular day. So I was glad that I was a part of that.
When
So
I was, go ahead, go ahead.
I talk a lot. You can go. You don't talk that much. Go ahead.
Ladies first, please. Go.
So for me, one, I got a lot of moments, y'all. I really do. And I'm not going to share all of the moments, but one moment that was super, super, super dope for me was just encountering the Black Lives Matter, the pro Black Lives Matter protesters that had gathered on the corner where I was, where my mural was, and just being able to talk with them and the intensity and the energy from those protesters. I mean, it's definitely something that I had never felt before, never felt. And they all lined up and took a picture, and they all had their fists in the air. It was just an awesome, awesome, awesome. It was an awesome moment. But one that touched me even more than that was to see people cry. There was a woman, it was a married couple. They were there together on Sunday, the next day. And I went out there because my 9-year-old had not seen it. Because of the security threats, I didn't want to take my middle child. So the next day we went and we were just walking around, and I saw a husband and a wife. They were standing there, and I noticed that the husband he was hugging his wife. So I just walked over to them and, thanked them for coming out, and I asked the wife, what do you think? What do you think of it all? And she was like, she said, it's a lot. It's a lot for me. And she was standing on the sidewalk by the L. The first L that I have in my mural has a list of names, which it's the list of Black people who were killed by the police. And she said, it's just too much. It's too much. I just want to know, when is this going to stop? It's been happening my whole life, and it has not stopped. When is this going to stop? This is just too much. And her husband said, do you really think that by putting paint on this street that it's going to stop this from happening? Do you really think this is going to make a difference? And I said, you know what? No, I don't think it's going to matter today. It's not going to stop it today. But my hope is there is a child somewhere in this crowd that's going to remember this. There's going to be a conversation had that's going to stick with that kid. And one day they're going to be lawmakers. And I hope that when they're lawmakers, they remember Black Lives Matter, that they never let it go, they never forget it. And it may not be within your lifetime, may not even be within my lifetime, but I just hope the future brings better for us than the now. It was extremely emotional out there. It really, believe it or not, I mean, we had a lot of great people, but there was some reality. It was some reality to that.
I think it was definitely reflective of our times, right? Which is you have a group of people who are trying to move society forward. They are trying to usher in a new status quo that includes a world that works for everyone. And you have people who are tied to the status quo. And that's really what this is about. But I read this really interesting quote yesterday. And well, I'm reading a book, and it was saying that you believe as you believe until the truth doesn't work anymore. And I think that is the point where we are, where it's like, yes, this is how it's been, but that actually doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work to cage people. It doesn't work to oppress women. It doesn't work to have 4 people in the United States worth $584 billion. It doesn't work. And that the people who are doing the work and the people that are living and making people rich matter, and that even artists, this is not a hobby. We work, and this is how we work, and we collaborate, and we make big things happen when we are properly supported for the work that we need to do. When we are given our tools, guess what? We can make very beautiful things happen. We can create conversations that can impact a 6 and a 7-year-old, right? Because a 6 and 7-year-old is not interested in 300 pages of policy. When I was a little girl, I remember people talking about not being for gay people. And I turned to my mother and I said, "Are we gay?" And she said, "No, baby, we're not gay." And I said, "Okay, well, what are we?" And she says, "Well, we're not gay, And I was like, "So what does it mean?" I had all these questions. And she said, "It means that people who love each other, if they are both boys or both girls or both men or both women, that they are not supposed to love each other. People don't want them to love each other." And then I sat with that and I asked her, I said, "Does that mean they can't hold hands when they walk down the street?" And she said, "Yes, that's what it means." And that was the moment I became an ally, because that was the first year that my boyfriend held my hand when we walked to the bus. And I thought everyone should have to experience this, being able to walk hand in hand with someone you like to the bus. That was enough for me. Like, why would you deny anybody something as beautiful and basic as love? And so even if adults can't hear it, they still are impacted by it, right? The fact that they even have to say, this doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's so huge, right? I mean, you're talking about like a whole city block. It doesn't matter. It's like a tantrum. Like, that's a tantrum versus saying, how can I make this matter? How can I make this make a difference? And so I just think that part is pretty awesome. I was so grateful to be and see all of it. The last thing before we go, I want to just say again, the media. What'd you say, Adrianne? You're muted.
I wanted to hear what Harold had to say.
Oh, Harold, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. I was just gonna say, okay. My bad. I was gonna say, a meaningful moment for me was is a retired teacher I worked with, a Jewish man actually, and he's experience of anti-Semitism. He came out and brought his 5-year-old grandson, his kindergarten grandson, and they painted together. And then another friend of mine who's an older white male that's retired and has actually thanked me because I taught him a lot that he did not understand about race. He was to the far right at one point in life. He's rethought all of that. But he came out and actually, together we painted one of the parts that was in blue and got that part painted. So it was good to see that. And of course, the moments with the children, always like that. That's basically it.
People evolve. They can. You can have a belief that you've had your whole life and realize it doesn't work anymore. So, Warren, did you have one? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to leave anybody out.
No. It's okay. I had a lot of moments, but it was just moments of people just really showing gratitude, and it really being heartfelt. Like I felt it. I felt I really had some genuine moments with people that really showed appreciation and gratitude. And those moments really mean a lot to me, And then my mom had a really emotional moment too, which is always good, emotional in a good way, And she was just, it was just people were happy. People were happy. And I feel like that's what was important. That art, it gave off really good energy, positive love. You know what I mean? All that, and that's what I felt through so many people, different races. It didn't really matter, and that was fulfilling for me.
Can I add to Warren's story? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I came to see Warren. I brought the bottle of champagne, and I was talking to a lady, and right, we had a toast. And I was talking to a lady, and she was just speaking with words that just made you like. She's like, I never thought that this would happen, and I never would imagine here on Truce in front of the Landon, because the Landon is a landmark for the Black culture. It's also on the division line for Kansas City, and I feel like a lot of this generation don't know about that if they're after 96 and up. And she was just talking. I was starting to get emotional because I was like, dang, she reminded me of my mom. And because my mom had a moment too. And kind of find out it was Warren's mom. And I explained to her that I was the artist on 10th in Baltimore. And it just was like a overjoy because you could feel how proud she was. Like we were all her babies at that moment. Like, this is what it's about. And we both were just hugging, and then she went over to Warren and she was
you were
like,
right
I'm
there,
just
right?
so
when
proud of you. And it just made me like, I was, and I snapped a pic. I just haven't sent it to you yet. But it just really gave me joy because, when it's your parent, it's like, I can handle that cry. But to hear another mother cry with joy, it felt like this is what it's about as well.
Adrianne, are you crying? Do not cry.
Adrianne
Oh my God.
Mama, now, hey.
Oh my God. Here we go.
Right.
Yeah.
Vivian about to go.
Don't get look, y'all. It's gonna be a fest.
Me and Harold are strong with you.
We're gonna see who doesn't cry first. Avrion,
oh my God.
whole football team. Her family was sitting up like Wakanda. Y'all know the scene when they went to the mountains.
Yeah, they were all on it.
Her family was posted up like, "Y'all try it if you want."
Right.
And
they said it all week.
They were posted with like, "Try it if you want." And my daughter said, "Oh, Mom, Miss Avrion is a butterfly." And I said, "Yes, she is." She said she looks just like a butterfly. I was like, "She really does." So, and I will just say, from Naima's perspective, of course, Avrion, you hadn't met Naima before, but everyone else she knows very, very well in real intimate ways, right? Not just a little bit. Like you all have been there throughout her life, and she just has, she's been a part of Black Space Black Art since its inception. She's helped to hang art and price art, all those things, right? And she looked at me at one point. She was like, "It's really hot, and this is a really big deal. Can we go home?" And so, but she rolled out with me like she's not like a deep sun, hot kind of humid person. She can do dry heat, but this whole Kansas City heat is a whole nother situation. And like Vivian's baby, you know, she's 17, so that kind of thing as well. But yeah, I just I want to shout out Troy and Denise. Denise is such a huge supporter of the arts. Troy says, I love that I'll see at least one of the 6 murals each day. Many days I'll see 2 or 3. We'll see your art every day for a long time to come. And I will say that if you travel or commute, you really do have opportunities, right? All the way north of the river, you've got west of Truth, you've got on Truth. You know, you've got a couple of different locations, which really makes a world of difference. So, yeah, it's not easy. It's not hard to go around to all of them either. So, one of my final questions is, what does Black Lives Matter mean to you?
I'll go first. Black Lives Matter to me, I would say I have multiple views about it, just because there's also Black on Black crime. There's also police brutality. There's also within our own race, being light skinned and dark skinned. It's just overall knowing that I matter regardless of my skin tone. I'm still human.
Mm-hmm. For me, I feel like it represents just the history that we've been told, you know, where we come from, what we've, and blase, all of that, and up till now, and what we've experienced is a reflection of the devaluing of Black lives. Like, it's obvious, and for many years in different ways, it's been that message. So that message has been that. So we need to speak the opposite. You know what I mean? Because that message, people have been made deliberate effort to speak down on Black lives and inspire those to treat or abuse Black lives, and to be okay with that, to celebrate that. You know, it's imperative that we speak against that with the opposite. Because if that message is constantly being heard and expressed and being seen, then that reality is continually being manifested. So we have, and the message that we see, the messages that we hear are the messages that we receive and we project. And I believe that it's important that we project something of truth instead of lies, of enslavement, of, you know what I mean? And messages that really devalue us as if we're not human. You know, that has been the message. So I feel like it's imperative that message, and it's imperative that our children grow up seeing the value in their life. Like, because in order for us to represent who we know ourselves to be beyond all the bull crap, we have to speak that. We have to allow our children to see that, to grow up being, because what we see, how we perceive the world is how we experience the world. And if we inspire the children to see the value in themselves, that value will be projected, you know? And I feel like that's most important, that message of telling our Black children that you matter, regardless of everything that you're seeing around. This artwork is a representation of your beauty. And that is imperative that message is heard, felt, experienced, and accepted. You know, so that's what it means to me.
Well, all of that. I'll say all of that. All of that. All of what you said, all of what she said. The statement Black Lives Matter is something that we already know. It's a statement that we're trying to get the world to see and to understand and to know. And so maybe the murals, even the statement on the ground, is a reminder to us to treat each other in that way.
Yeah.
We can't expect people to treat us the way we won't treat ourselves. We can't expect somebody to love us when we're not loving ourselves. So maybe it's a message to the world that we matter, that our children are important, that our sons, our fathers, our uncles, we're not a threat. We're important and we matter. But it's also a message to our own community. A lot of the murals are in our community. And it's a reminder to us that we matter, that we're brave, that we're courageous, that we're bold, that we're innovative. If you go on 31st and Truth, Michael Toombs did an excellent job of incorporating history in his Black Lives Matter mural. We are geniuses. We are scientists. We are moguls. You know, this country was built on our backs. We matter. We matter to each other, and to start, you know, begin to celebrate and respect each other. So I think that it means that as well.
I think for me, the Black Lives Matter to me is really kind of in line with what Warren said. Is it's a matter of humanity. There are so many different videos or movies or videos or music that dehumanizes Black people. So much so that we start to dehumanize ourselves, and we have to remember that we matter. That heartbeat, the air in your lungs, you know, everything that you do and everything that you have the ability to be, it's valid. Your experience is valid. We believe you. We believe you when you say that you were harassed. We believe you when you say that there is not equal, adequate health care. We believe you when you say that the education system is not equal. It's not okay for these type of things to keep happening, and we are just sitting on the sidelines waiting for someone else to come and rescue us. We have to take control of the things that are happening in our community. But to me, Black Lives Matter is really about that heartbeat. You matter. The injustices that are happening are not gonna just fall on deaf ears. I hear you, I see you, I believe you. You're important. You are important. You matter. That's what it means to me. It's more than just the organization. People have issue a lot of the times with what the organization believes, what the organization did, what the organization didn't do. Did the organization show up? For me, the statement is clear. The statement is exactly what the statement says, regardless of the organization. If you don't believe in that statement, then there is an issue. If we agree that Black Lives Matter, period, then that's the end of the discussion. I don't want to hear the buts behind that. I truly don't want to hear about the Black on Black crime in that moment, because in my head, you're giving the excuse as to why it is okay for someone else to kill me. Let's not go that far. Let's not let your imagination go there, because that's something that somebody else planted also. This heartbeat matters. That little boy who has autism matters. That little girl who has issues, she matters. Let's get these people some resources. Let's get these parents some help, because they matter. That's what it is for me. That's what Black Lives Matter is for me.
I think that for me, in addition to everything that everybody else has said, I think saying the term Black Lives Matter is also a call to the consciousness and the conscience of individuals and humanity. It's like if a man is a father, if you have to remind him that your children need food or your children need support, that should be to a call to his conscience that there's something you're not doing. There's something wrong with what you're doing. You need to correct yourself. I think the term Black Lives Matter, especially with these murals, are like I said, a call to the conscience of not only individuals, but of a nation, to tell you there is something wrong with you that keeps you from being fully human. and embracing your full humanity, and you need to fix it.
I want to read this comment. I didn't want to cover up everybody's face, but Troy shares Black Lives Matter means to me that the dialogue is finally from coast to coast, not just within the segregated communities. It's a conversation across the globe. No matter what side of the equation one is on, you are forced to confront it, and it is impactful. It is coming like a tidal wave and will eventually wash away the ugliness so rampant in our nation. Black Lives Matter unites. So I want to also just add, for me, Black Lives Matter is an honoring of our ancestors. It's an honoring of their voice that is no longer silent in us. And their voices weren't silent. They had to be incredibly crafty to make sure we survived. And I was an ornery child, and my grandmothers celebrated my voice. And so every chance I get, I live Black Lives Matter. I will confront the sexism, the racism, and the internalized self-hate. That is what matters, you know. And I will confront the statistics. I will confront the misinformation and the propaganda about the existence of Black people. And to quote Lewis Moulton, a local poet, Black people are the secrets that have never been told. And so we get to narrate and tell our own stories, which is why we came on live today, so that everybody could be clear that nobody's paying us for this. We get to say exactly what's on our mind, and we get to express that. And so I just want to say it's been wonderful working with you all, and just to talk a little bit about Black Space, Black Art. We are an artist collective founded in December of 2017 because I told Harold Smith I had a vision a year before that, and he insisted and kept pushing me, as everyone here knows Harold will do. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. Harold is an idea bully. If you sneeze and tell him you're thinking about something, he's going to remind you until you do it. Harold, you are such a wonderful, wise elder and have always pushed me out of my comfort zone. We've had several big fights over the years, and it has all been good, right? Because we've both been able to grow from that. Iron sharpens iron. And, you know, I was honored that you came on as a founding member using your platform that you do so many times to highlight Black artists. We all get to shine. There is no limit to the shine. There is no limit to holding each other up and shining at the same time. A victory for one of us is a victory for all of us. My hope is that people start going, we need to listen and pay attention to Black artists in Kansas City. We need to include them. You know, we need to stop giving all the money to the same 3 white artists on whenever it comes. And we get to do that. And so I am dedicated to that on an administrative side of it. I am not a visual artist, you know, but I love visual art. As you can see in the background, I love the impact that it has. People enter my home and try to buy things off the wall. That's how much we need Black art, y'all. That's how much we need it. We need it so bad we don't even know we need it. You know, it's kind of like the first time you have sex. You're like, how did I even live this many years without this? I made it all the way to 13 without this. I'm kidding. So anyway, is there any parting words that you all may have that you want to share before we go? Oh, did you all know that Adrianne is a twin?
Hey,
Adrianne is a twin, y'all. So Andrea says, so proud of you all. Hey, sis. It's good to see your face. Look at you looking sexy in your profile pic. So Yeah, you all, Adrianne and I are sisters. I think we probably should mention that because people think it's not the truth. It is. We are sisters. So anyway, I love y'all so much. Any parting words? I know Vivian has something to say, and I love it.
No,
I love it. Say it, girl. Say it.
To say. I just really want to say that I am so proud of every single one of y'all. Like on an individual level and as a collective, y'all have no idea. Like now I'm really about to get choked up. Like I just know this journey. I know where we've been. I know how hard we've worked. I know the disagreements that we've had, the growth that we've made. I know the backstory. And I am so proud of y'all. Like, y'all, oh my God. I just want to hug you and roll around in the grass. Like, I don't know what that is, why I want to roll around in the grass, hugging each of you, but I do. I love y'all. I am so proud of y'all. Because I wanted to do this as a group. Like, I was like, I want to do it with my people. But I am so glad we got to do it individually, and we get to celebrate each other individually. I love y'all so much. I'm so proud, y'all.
I wanted to say thank you to Natasha for, I don't know who reached out to you, but for bringing it to us. Because you know a lot of people, you know a lot of artists, and you could have taken it to anybody. But you believe in us. You always believe in us. She has pushed us in ways y'all could not even imagine. She has sold our artwork when we're asleep or something. I don't know what happens, but she just kind of sends the message that this is so, this is so, this is so. And I am eternally grateful for the push. As y'all know, my mom, she passed like a year and a half ago. And that's why I got teared up when they started talking about their moms being present. But my mom would have wanted me, she would have wanted me to do this. And I kind of began it when she was alive, but I don't know. Maybe she saw that something like this could have happened in my lifetime. I don't know. But I'm grateful that even in her absence, like there are people around me that push and encourage. And Natasha is one of them. My sister Andy, we call her Andy. It says Andrea, but we call her Andy. She's another one. I have a small group of friends that are encouraging. I could call Harold. I could message him, and he will send me information. Harold has sent me stuff and said, "Do this. You should do this. You should do this." And so I am grateful to both of you. I'm really grateful. So I just wanted to express that before we got off of here, because you know this isn't just us getting on here pretending that we're unified. Like we're actually working together, and when one of us win, we all win. And it's really how it is. And so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, let me say that too. I'm grateful. I appreciate you, Natasha, because this is how the opportunity met us, is by meeting you. You know what I mean? By getting to you and you come to us, and by you making sure it's known that this is what you do. You have artists that you are supporting, that you're pushing out there, that you are, you know what I mean? Like you've always shown that support, that push. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful. I'm grateful because I don't know if I would have taken this opportunity if it wasn't through Black Space, Black Art, because you know it can just the it was intimidating hearing about it. It was intimidating. It was scary, overwhelming, because you think about the final piece and how big it's supposed to, you know, it was scary. But I think it happening through the group and I was with you guys, it helped. It helped put me into say yes to the unknown, to the to the uncomfortable, so that I can see just the beauty that can come from it. You know what I mean? So I feel like I grew. I feel like we all grew from saying yes to this. And growth is dope. And so I thank you, Natasha, for just giving us, you know, just presenting this opportunity to us. And I'm grateful I said yeah.
I think we are always stronger together because you can't see your own blind spots.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. And so we can bounce around when we all are thinking something. You know, Vivian may be able to say it in a way that Warren can't, or Warren can say it in a way that Adrianne can't, or I can say it in a way that is authoritative sometimes, but it's for the greater vision. And I just want y'all to know I am incredibly protective of Black people. Anybody who knows that knows, and I am even more protective of the sensitive spirits of Black artists. I am most protective of that and children because we carry the vision. And I believe that. And I'm not going to let anybody tell us that. So, yeah, I'm a bulldog and I'm protective and I'm okay with that. I'll be the bitch if that's what it takes to make things happen. So I just want to say thank you all for trusting me. I really appreciate that, for you all trusting me. Avrion was such a great addition to our team. I see she's kind of trying to get back on. She might have lost power because she was on her phone. I want to shout out Mark Cook, who has been a supporter of Black Space, Black Art. He says, you guys have been the most inspiring group of artists for me in the last 5 years. I love what you bring. And Mark puts his money where his mouth is. He's been a huge supporter of the art. Makes me so happy to see this taking off in KC. So if you all are a business or you have a small business or a large business and you are interested in having a space that is a changing art gallery, that is exactly what Black Space, Black Art does. Please take a moment to follow us on Instagram. Also follow us on Facebook, Black Space, Black Art. Check out the art inbox. You'll be talking to me. And yes, I do answer at 2 and 3 and 4 in the morning, which is surprisingly when people are inspired to buy art at 3 a.m. They're like, I want it now. And they can change their mind at 3:15. So just know that too. But yeah, and so I am so excited to see what's next. I made a mantra when COVID started that I would thrive in 2020. I would thrive through COVID, and that I would create my own experience. And that had to be a mantra because I struggled with anxiety. And so seeing this, seeing all of you stretch past is a thriving. So I want to thank everybody who joined us. You all just stick on for like two seconds. Vivian has an announcement to make, but if it's Vivian, it's going to be 2 minutes and 2 seconds. So I'm just teasing. I love it. Also, I have to shout out. So you got Harold Smith Art. You have Stylez Artistry, Rendering Art. You have Expressions of Blue and Designs by Avrion. I am at natasharia.com as well. And so there's a thank you all. And so we in return say thank you. We in return, I just will say I want to give really honor to our ancestors, our creator, and remind everyone we are built and created by all of the same thing. We are more alike than we are different. And let justice and peace prevail. You all have a fantastic rest of the evening. Please share, like, add, do all those things. Bye.